Call to order, please. Roll call, please.
Smith.
Here.
Coon.
Here.
Bragg.
Here.
Robish.
Present.
Mayor Harrington.
Here. Join me in a pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next up is public forum. Public forum comments may be sent during the live meeting broadcast on the city's YouTube channel. This link is listed on the city website at www.hursd.com/citygovernment. In order to use the YouTube chat feature, please create an account with YouTube and Gmail or use your existing accounts. Please state your name and address for the record. And we have Janet on the system back there tonight. She will be taking the calls, and she'll let me know when she has one, and then we'll go to that directly. So we'll take a short siesta here to see if anybody has it to start out with, and then we'll continue on. Is there anybody on the commission that has a public forum for tonight? Would like to speak in public forum?
No, I didn't.
I do have one for public forum. In lieu of our 3-inch rain last week, we had quite a bit of plugged drains that following morning. And some of that comes from grass, people mowing their lawns and mowing their grass into the street, and that eventually ends up in our drains, and along with some of the leaves that sometimes fall, plugs up our drains, and we have problems with water backing up in people's basements, stuff like that. So remind you that when you mow your lawn, your first pass on the curb, please mow it into the thing, into your yard, and then it'll pick it up the next time around. Also, it's a safety factor. Some of the people that, and I don't ride motorcycles, but some of the people that ride motorcycles have told me that the grass in the gutters sometimes causes problems for them when they're trying to avoid something on the street. So just a reminder that we would like to have you make sure that your grass isn't being blown in the street. With that, we don't have anything? Okay. And we're going to move on to approval agenda. I have an agenda change here tonight that I'd like to add. I'd like to change number 9. It's number 9.1. That's a work session. I'd like to move the work session and switch that with the executive session, which is 10. Put executive session before the work session. That'd be my change on the agenda tonight. Do I have a motion to approve that?
Move to approve the agenda as changed.
Second.
And I have a second by Commissioner Bragg. Okay. All those in favor say aye, please. Roll call. We need a roll call on
We need a
that.
roll call on
Yeah,
everything.
everything.
Smith.
Okay.
Aye.
Coon.
Aye.
Bragg.
Aye.
Robish.
Aye.
Mayor Harrington.
Aye. Thank you, that's passed. Okay. Consent agenda. Matters appearing on the consent agenda are expected to be non-controversial and will be acted upon by the commission at one time without discussion unless a member of the commission requests an opportunity to address any given item. Items removed from the consent agenda will be discussed at the beginning of the formal items. 4.1, regular meeting minutes of June 8th, 2020. 4.2, fuel quotes for city departments. 4.3, parade permit filed by the Huron Antique Power Association for June 20. 4.4, appointment of Jennifer Littlefield to the Historic Preservation Board. And 4.5, payment of the bills. Do I have a motion to approve?
Move to approve consent.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Robish. All those in favor, we'll have a roll call vote on this also.
Smith,
Aye.
Clute,
Aye.
Bragg,
Aye.
Robish,
Aye.
Mayor Harrington.
Aye. Moving on to bid quotes. First bid quote we have is consider payment request by number 2 by TLC Olson Construction LLC for bid number 2020-01 water main replacement in an amount of $160,718.58. Dennis, do you have some comments on this?
Sure. This is just a progress payment on this. This puts them about 40% on this project for completion, and they're moving along pretty good, so recommend approval.
Do you have a motion?
Move to approve the payment request.
Commissioner Smith with a motion. Second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Robish. It's open for discussion. Any discussion on it? Who you'd like to ask about that? No discussion, we'll have a roll call vote on it, please.
Smith,
Aye.
Clute, Bragg,
Aye.
Robish,
Aye.
Mayor Harrington.
Aye. Moving on, 5.2, consider payment request number 1 by Midland Construction Incorporated for bid number 2020-11 Southtown Residential Development Street and utility improvement in an amount of $44,771.58. Assistant Engineer Dennis.
Thank you, Mayor. This is progress payment on Southtown work. They've stripped all black dirt and got the clay down to rough subgrade and puts them about 5% done. Recommend approval.
Motion.
Move to approve the payment request.
Commissioner Smith, motion.
Second.
Mr. Bragg, second. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Smith,
Aye.
Clute,
Aye.
Bragg,
Aye.
Robish,
Aye.
Mayor Harrington.
Aye. 5.3, consider payment request number 1, final by TLC Olson Construction LLC for bid number 2020-13. Aerobic lagoon cleaning in the amount of $98,205. Assistant Engineer Dennis.
Thank you, Mayor. This is the final payment for the anaerobic cleaning. Came in right on bid number, and we recommend approval.
Okay, thank you. Motion,
Move to approve payment request.
Commissioner Smith, motion. Second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Bray. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call please.
Smith,
Aye.
Clute,
Aye.
Bragg,
Aye.
Robish,
Aye.
Mayor Harrington.
Aye. 5.4, consider construction change order number 1, final for asphalt paving and materials company for bid number 2020-03. Street milling and overlay for a net decrease of $14,281.63. And a payment request for number 3, final in amount of $11,709.33. Assistant Engineer Bennett.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, this is just the final payment on the street milling and overlay we've did this year. We came in over on the asphalt number, but under on the milling. Some of the roads we edge milled to get more crown into them that we needed, so came in $14,281.62 under bid. Recommend approval.
Any discussion?
I guess.
We need a motion.
Oh, I'm sorry. A motion, please.
I'll move to approve the
Okay.
final
Motion
payment.
moved and approved. Second.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Smith. Now discussion.
Okay.
Commissioner Robish.
Dennis, this is final. Are we planning on anything more towards the end of the season, or?
It's all the money Paul Ann would give me, so. No,
So,
this is, they did all their
I'm
work.
asking you, should you and I plan on anything else at the end of it?
We could spend about 3 million more if you got it.
I know we could.
But this is, this takes care of all that was bid for this year, so.
It is, okay. All right, thank you.
Any further discussion? If not, we'll have a roll call.
Smith.
Aye.
Clute.
Aye.
Wright.
Aye.
Bush.
Aye.
Mayor Harrington.
Aye.
Mayor, I have a question outside of this. if I may.
Sure.
Dennis, concerning the Third Street dam, I know obviously with the flood concern that we've had there, is there any idea of when that project might be completed?
No. The water still has to go down considerably before we can do the shoreline work. And that's all that's left on it, is shoreline work. We'll place the rock and pour new concrete and stuff, so. Water's gonna have to go down and stay down for a while for us to get that done.
So it's gonna be a while,
Yep.
this summer maybe?
I hope so.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, petitions and communications. Consider a plat filed by Greater Huron Development Corporation for Advantage Business Park. Barry, do you have something on that?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. This is just a plat that more clearly identifies the legal description of the lands for future platting. If they were to sell it off, this allows them to do that without a meets and bounds description, and more clearly identifies it. We'd recommend approval.
Motion?
Move to approve the plat filing.
Motion by Commissioner Smith. Need a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Robish. Discussion? No discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Smith.
Aye.
Clute. Wright.
At this time, I'm still a member of that board, so I'm going to abstain on this one.
Robish.
Aye.
Mayor Harrington.
Aye. Okay. 6.2, consider a lease agreement with Ricky Salmons, use of a go-kart. Pauline, you have,
We want to introduce Ricky Salmons. He is asking for a lease on the go-kart property out there by our solid waste department. I'm going to turn it over to you
come on up.
to give you details.
State your name and,
My name's Ricky Salmons, and I'd like to petition to use a property out there at the go-kart track for my 7-year-old son to practice. He owns, or we own a go-kart we race in Aberdeen, and Kelvin Cheddar, the owner of the go-kart, or president I believe he is, has my blessing to use that portion of it. So I'm asking the city to let me maintain the rest of the property for us to strictly use it as a go-kart facility, restore the track back to track. Probably clean up some of the buildings, of course, and lock up the property because it's been vandalized and broke into, and then we would maintain the mowing. And he owns a little CR-50 to the south. There's a big lot. I talked to him, I said somewhere safe where he can ride a little dirt bike around there without, it's tough to find a place in town here to even have a kid that can learn to ride a dirt bike. We used to have bumpies back in my old days, and everything's kind of gone away of that. And he's got a little dirt go-kart that we make a little track out there in the dirt for him to ride where it's safe and out of way of traffic and possibility stuff. But we'd strictly use the go-kart track just for go-kart track, for go-kart carts. And Kelvin, I have also talked to Kelvin, and he said he'd be happy to help me, get a track back to normal. And maybe someday down the future, I talked to the guys in Aberdeen, and maybe someday next year or the following years, if everything goes right, they would come down and maybe put on a show for a weekend, when they're off their weekends, to come down here and do a weekend show here.
any questions for Ricky?
So So, so we do have an agreement with him, and this agreement was what we had previously with Calvin Cheddar and his group. It was a lease for $1. We have liability insurance coverage, and it has an out of the lease for, you can get out of the lease in 90 days either side.
How much improvement do you think you're gonna need to make, like buildings wise and some of that sort of?
Well, three of the buildings I think are still locked up. One, the big one's they cut the lock and broke in there, and when I told Kelvin about it, he said he was aware of it. He said there was nothing in there, steel, so I'd have to put a new door jamb on it, stuff like that, and then we'd lock it up. But I got a lot better security locks for the gates, there's 2 main gates, so, you know, and I was gonna put some signs up, no trespassing, you know. I got cameras that I could install that would possibly, you know, even fake ones, and give people a sense of, and then turn the electricity back on, because if there's lights out there, at least that would deter, at least motion detector lights, you know, and hopefully the cops could drive by every once in a while. But the other buildings I wouldn't really have no use for, other than just trying to probably maintain it a little better, where where the announcer stand and flag stand used to be, the floor's rotten out, so I would probably do something where the kid can't get up there and fall through it, you know. So I'd either take the steps away or stuff like that, and probably throw some paint on some of them buildings if we could do it. But, and then the one big building, I'd probably put like mowers and stuff in it, that, you know, for maintaining the place out there, and at least make it look a lot better from the road, anyhow, for sure.
Yes.
Question.
Yes, Mr. Smith?
Ricky, when was the last time that track was used? Do you recall?
2014, is that something?
2014 was the last time we had a request for a lease. I think it was 2011, the last time the track had been used.
And I was out there just to walk around and see what all it needs, and it needs a lot of work, because the weeds are so taken over. It'd probably I'd have to go buy stuff to leave, kill the dirt, the weeds, to get it to find where the track is. And then I got a lot of friends that do work, so they said they would all help me out, give me hands to try and get it back to something where we can practice. But it's just for my son. I'd buy a cart so we can race together and just practice, because when you're racing up and everything, you just race and that's it.
Sure.
So.
Commissioner Roach?
Thank you, Mayor. Now, you say this is just for you and your son?
Yeah.
Won't that be pretty tough to tell your friends that, well, you can come and watch, but you can't come in?
Well,
I mean, I'm all for it. I'm okay.
that's the other, yeah. I mean,
Okay,
everybody's already made comments and wanting to come out there. They almost think that I'm starting to back up for a race, and I had guys from Mitchell saying that they heard that I was gonna do this. The guy let her in my car, used to race, and I told him, well, I'm thinking about just having a track for my son. Well, hopefully you can get her up and running where we can come up there and race. And I said, well, it's not gonna be that. It's just strictly my son and I out there playing around.
Well, I don't have a problem if you get races going again. I'm just saying, it's gonna be hard to police that, isn't it? I mean,
Well, I guess it's if I own the keys to the door,
yeah, I understand.
and
I guess I'm gonna say have fun and good luck, but, because I'm all for it.
Mhm.
I just wish there was more that you could do out there, but.
Well, I do too, and I think there's a lot of people that have been, 'cause especially with the times right now, we're finding stuff to do with a 7-year-old kid, they're almost 8, there's
Right.
no swimming, there's no nothing. It's
Right.
like, just today I had them all day, and it's like, holy, there's nothing to do, So it's driving my grandma and my mom about crazy, so I thought, well, at least it. But yeah, there still is a lot of interest in the karting, and I think Calvin still wants to be a part of it, but he's up there, and with this virus, he don't want to come to town, so. He's talked to Schneider, and he's okay with it, so.
Okay.
Yes.
So just to follow up on that point then, I mean, you have no plans for it right now, but just for clarification on our lease, with what we're signing, would he, if the opportunity came up, would he have the opportunity to do more? And if there's nothing in the lease that specifically says it's just for him and his son, even though that's your intention now,
Yeah.
the opportunity would be there, so if you wanted to do something later, you wouldn't have to come before this group again to change anything.
Correct.
Thank you.
Well, and maybe we should come before this group or someone, so that we all know what's going on with it. Because if we do, then the liability is ours. Not the liability, but the insurance is ours, and
No, we really,
I understand that, but we would still want to know if it does improve to be more than that, that's okay. That's, like I said, I'm for it.
Yeah, I have no intention unless, because it
Well,
would
then,
take more
yeah.
than just me to handle it
Well, then
anymore.
think it
but
over
I-
then.
I'm already gonna have my hands full just trying to probably mow it, and luckily I got a couple farmers that have all the,
Right.
you know, they just want a square bale out of it, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's like,
I'm all for it, I just want to make sure that everything's on the up with it, and
Yeah.
I have no problem.
and I mean, constant, I talk to Calvin probably once a week or so, because he still helps me with my cart now, so, and, you know, I told him, I guarantee that we're not gonna destroy the track, you know, we're not gonna have motorcycles out there on the track or anything crazy like that, it's just,
Okay.
Do we have,
excuse me,
Go ahead, Commissioner.
do we have an investment in those buildings, Paul?
those buildings, I think
Are they
Calvin
all
Cheddar
donated?
did all the buildings. We own the property, except for one section, there's a map in your packet, I believe. It didn't copy out very
Right.
well, but the cart people own just this little piece, and the city owns everything around it. So they own a little piece of the track and we own the rest. And then where they used to, when they did have races, I believe this was all parking lot and race area, and then back here was pit area.
on the north side.
Yes.
I
Because they
believe,
did come to us with a plan when they did those races, because it was 2 years of national races, I believe.
the late Don Jury paid for the building, that big building, I believe, that's what I've heard.
They kind of become the cities because they're on our property.
Well, if you're improving the property, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I mean,
You
I,
know,
at least for sure mow it, you know, and I guess. And I'm open for it, if somewhere down the line, if somebody wants to do, the city wants to do something with it, then, you know, then
Well,
I'm okay with it, you know, and who knows where it's gonna end, maybe we get racing back in, go-kart racing for the kids back in.
Commissioner Bray, are you good? Okay. Any other questions for Mr. Sammons? No? Need a motion to,
Motion to approve the lease.
motion to approve, Commissioner Bray, second?
second?
Second, Commissioner Smith. Need a roll call, please?
Smith,
Aye.
Clute,
Okay.
Bragg,
Aye.
Robish,
Aye.
Mary Harrington.
Aye. Good luck, Ricky.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Okay, 8.1, authorize the water and sewer superintendent to apply for a grant with an SDML Workers' Compensation Fund for one ICS SAW package and to sign all documentation. I probably should get my glasses. Rob, can speak on that.
Well, that's mine, yeah. It's right now, when we have main breaks and stuff, we have to go down in the trench and we use a regular chop saw. And our workman's comp has a grant program. It's 50/50 if you buy a safety saw, so it's like a chainsaw. And so it doesn't kick back and things like that, so you cut straight through the pipe. And if you're cutting on bigger pipes, you can make one cut and you can get in, you can get out a lot faster. So like I said, it's a 50/50 match. I believe the saw is just a hair over $2,000, so the grant will be for $1,000. And we'll pick up the other half.
Do you have a motion on that?
Motion to approve the application for the grant.
Thank you, Commissioner Smith. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Robish, second. Any discussion, please?
I just have a couple questions.
Yes, Commissioner Smith.
Rob, how long does that grant application, before you know that you have the funds, does that take?
A couple
Month, a
days,
year?
brother. Couple days, I'll fax it in and they told me that last year they didn't spend all the money. So pretty much everybody who applies gets the grant, is what I was told, so. I'd say, I'd get approval by the end of the week and have this on next week.
Perfect. Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Smith,
Aye.
Clute,
Aye.
Wright,
Aye.
Robish,
Aye.
Mayor Harrington.
Aye. We're gonna go to 8.2 now. It's consider the recommendation from the Park and Recreation Department to open the new sand volleyball court at Memorial Park. I need a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Clute. Need a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Smith. Any discussion?
Just that there's a lot of interest from the volleyball community to open that. And that's been conveyed to me by Ron. I got a call too about it today. And I guess the only reason you wouldn't do it is the coronavirus situation, and whether you think that's an unsafe thing. But again, I think the parents are behind it. They're gonna take precautions for their kids. So I'll vote for it.
Any other discussion? Mr. Robish?
Mayor, I'm sorry to take up some time here, but I'd like to ask LaRon here, this has something to do with this, but it doesn't, and I'll explain myself. LaRon, have you been in contact with the Little League at all since we've started all this opening of all our departments and whatever? Have you discussed anything with the Little League as far as starting a program?
What I've, if you can hear me, Mark.
Yep.
What I've gotten from them since last Friday night was that things went well for that night, and we intend on having a couple more games this week. So I think they have done whatever they had in their plan to do. So things have gone well.
And so what age group is that?
There was a 13-year-old game, and this next week there should be 14-year-olds and eventually the Legion.
Okay. And where I'm going with this is we're opening up a volleyball court for our adults, and we're gonna open up our bathroom at Prospect Park, and we're gonna open up a pickleball. Did I see that someplace? Sorry. Yes. And I've gotten a lot of questions on Little League Baseball, and I'm gonna go back to my statement that I made 2 weeks ago. I think this pandemic has been the hardest on the kids group age, I don't care what numbers you use, 8-year-old, 9-year-old, 10-year-old to 15, 16, 17-year-olds. And here we are going, telling the adults to go, go, go. And we still tell the kids, you gotta stay home, you can't play. I'm all for doing all this, but I want somebody to think of the kids. And I know we don't run the Little League, but I just want to encourage them, maybe I should say. Even if it's a short season, I mean, the kids don't care. They just want to go, just like Ricky Salmon said today, just a few minutes ago. He's 7 years old. He wants to go, go, go. And I understand they have to be controlled, but they are controlled. They're very controlled, and that's what they're feeling. I'm just sure that's what they're feeling. So anyway, I know we don't run the Little League, but I'm just wondering if you had any contact with them. And Doug, I should have probably asked you this first before the meeting, but I didn't, I'm sorry. So, there's my spiel.
LeBron, correct me if I'm wrong, but you don't run Little League, do you?
No, sir, we just provide the facility, and the parents have been very good about working with any spectators they might have, which are mostly parents, and spacing them on the bleachers, and then also working with the kids and the coaches.
So what's holding up the young kids not playing?
Excuse me?
So what's holding up the age group that Commissioner Roberts was talking about?
Well, the original situation with the Huron Little League is they recommended that they felt they couldn't properly, way back in April, I believe, handle that age group. That is a younger age group because of the control of the kids.
It was the Little League that decided it, it wasn't us.
Yeah, I understand.
They said they didn't want to do the younger kids, so that's why we're there.
And that's why I wanted to make sure that I said that. But I'd really like to encourage them to look it over again. But anyway. I'll talk to the Little League people myself, that's fine.
Any other discussion?
Question that I have, Mayor.
Yes,
Um,
Commissioner Smith?
LaRon, in the proposed reopening phases, it's highlighted in there, opening the new sand volleyball court at Memorial Park, that's what's highlighted. But then it goes on with and skateboard park and Prospect. So this request is just for the volleyball, correct?
That is correct. The reason that we haven't looked at the skateboard park yet is that we feel it's very similar to the playground situations. So that'll be asked when we look at playgrounds again.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Smith,
Aye.
Clue,
Aye.
Gregg,
Aye.
Robish,
Aye.
Mayor Harrington.
Aye. 8.3, consider the recommendation of the Park and Recreation Department to open the bathroom at Prospect Park for pickleball play and trail use. Need a motion for that.
So moved.
Commissioner Clute,
Second.
Commissioner Roberts, second. Thank you. Any discussion on this topic?
Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
So, Lauren, we have two of these tonight, we had a couple last week. Where do we sit overall? I mean, I guess in my opinion, a bathroom in a park is a bathroom in a park. Do we need to keep looking at these? How many do we have left that aren't open? If we're good opening one, I would think we'd probably be good opening all. Are there others after these two we do tonight, or will this be all the park bathrooms?
We're at about 50% of our bathrooms, and the ones that aren't open are areas where, for instance, we haven't had any new requests for soccer and for some of the other sports.
So keeping them closed would be more logistical to not have to open and clean them if they're not being regularly used, as opposed to a discussion about whether it's appropriate for coronavirus. It's more, they're just not needed. Would that be a fair statement?
The situation to begin with was the soccer fields just haven't been asked to be open for adult or for youth leagues at this time.
I mean, I'm fine either way, Your Honor, but I guess I would say it seems a little bit time-consuming to meet and take each one of these on a one-by-one basis. If we think it's safe to open the park restrooms, I think we should just open the park restrooms.
So
Well, we agree with that
facilities being
completely
used,
with-
you know,
Other
with
than
respect.
that reason, if
Keep
it's
closed.
right.
So noted.
And don't call him, Your Honor, he'll go right to his head. Tell you that.
Tough crowd. Any other discussions?
Good thing we have masks on, right?
Welcome back, Commissioner Clute. Welcome back. So with that, we'll have a roll call.
Smith,
Aye.
Aye.
Gregg,
Aye.
Robish, Mayor Harrington.
Aye. Okay. 8.4, consider the recommendation of the Park and Recreation Department to open a bathroom at Crown Park for fishermen at Ravine Lake.
I move to open that bathroom.
Motion by Commissioner Clute, need a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Smith. Any discussion on this one?
Just that, according to Ron, they're getting a lot of fishermen down there with young kids, and so there is a need for the bathroom. The playground equipment's still closed down there, but they are fishing.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Smith,
Aye.
Clute,
Aye.
Wright,
Aye.
Robish,
Aye.
Mayor Harrington.
Aye. So with that, that can pretty much takes care of our agenda tonight, except we're gonna have, executive session next, so I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session.
Motion for executive session.